Hello. Welcome to Let Me Out Productions and the Top Brass Dow. I said, Let Me
Hello.
Out Productions and the Top Brass Dow.
Welcome.
Okay, we got it. We're in. Let's go over to my Instagram story before it expires. I did some good work on my story yesterday. We're gonna watch that back, and then I'm gonna talk about what the hell I'm talking about. Yes, it's all still here. Come on. Oh.
Credentials. I spell it with a U on my resume because that's fun. But everything that I publish in the realm of linguistics is credentialed and a scientific publication. Okay? So, when it comes to using a public notary service to create units of account that publish activity into a wider body of activity that is then a property, we have the precedent. March 28th, 2021. The brand, March 31st, 2021. Gambling monkeys. I keep telling everybody, information and science, like this is basic information. It's not complicated stuff. A public notary that publishes same time user filed blocks in a chain for everybody to use as a witness, as a system of receipts for impartial witness. That's what it is. It's a publishing tool. It's just what it is. And on this publishing tool, I'm forming a publishing behavior where we structure the wider outcome of an intellectual property as a puzzle, and then we account for all effort, activity, labor, etc. that goes into that intellectual property to create it with units of account. Unique origin, unique result, units of account. This is the precedent. The precedent. Nothing else is the precedent. This is the precedent. On top of which, this is culmination of over 20 years of publishing expertise at the highest level of the economy. Okay, and you look back, your neck gonna get stuck. I keep telling people. Doesn't matter. Credentials, aspirations, research, experience, engagement, result. That's what that is. That's what the precedent is. So I'm not derivative of it. I'm not basing my work on anybody else. That's my preparedness to create the precedent out of my expertise, out of my research, and out of God's blessing, and out of the blessing of the ancestors, and out of the community support that I've been blessed to enjoy over the last 5 years. That's what that is. Okay? So let me explain what happened. I don't want anybody putting blame on themselves except for certain people, but I'll explain what happened. So, here I am as a behavioral scientist teaching humanity how to use a publishing tool to form a wider published property on a puzzle structure with individual units of account that build that puzzle structure. And I'm here in March of 2021 publishing that behavior, demonstrating it for everybody, and inviting people to co-publish themselves directly into the market capture of this pioneer effort of the precedent. Okay? 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later, 4chan comes along. Now the information's out there. Who knows if they derive from me specifically? The information's out there. They form their wide publication of individual units of account, and they gamble on them because it's 4chan. Now, everybody, we're in a race. You guys need to understand how racist of a country this is, okay? Try to understand. So here I am, a credentialed scientist, publishing a scientific result openly for everybody.
I cut off on the clip there, but I said you guys need to understand how racist of a country this is. We are a racist country in the United States, and it's a huge part of why this information, which is the precedent information, isn't reported on, isn't delivered to the public at large. The biggest reason is race. I'm not preaching victim. That's not what I'm doing. I'm addressing the problem. The dehumanization of somebody's visual appearance. That is what we're all going through right now. Y'all need to get it into check.
Study and learn from. So here I am, a credentialed scientist, publishing a scientific result openly for everybody to study and learn from. My podium to teach that exact result has been corrupted by basic KKK of the internet. That's what 4chan is, okay? And it's basically a shadow arm of the clandestine networks of the U.S. government.
It's exhausting to deal with you
The shit show that we're currently all navigating is unreal, okay? But regardless, I published a certain way, I call it surfing the lo-fi, where you're sort of underwhelming in your results, so that way the corporations couldn't perceive what I was doing and copy me, and I could establish the behavior, and I could teach the behavior over time. And that did buy me time, but the problem was the 4chan thing completely wiped out my pole position and my precedent, my podium. And it wasn't them. They occurred. Here's the thing. The blockchain is a publishing tool. You can publish whatever the hell you want. We're publishing co-publishing vessels, socialized properties for everybody to share and enjoy their effort working long-term for them. I'm wearing it right now. Okay. And the other, in 4chan, published a gambling scheme. They published a casino. So anybody can publish whatever they want. But because 4chan published a casino, and anybody's so fucking racist. You guys are so racist, you don't know how racist you are. That's the problem. Not my Argentine friends, okay? It's not part of the social fabric there. Anyway, y'all are so racist how racist you are. Let me extrapolate.
Yeah.
Number one, we're human beings, so we're sanctimony addicted creatures, which basically means we're no more evolved than chimpanzees that fling poo at something shiny. So our priority in every interaction, 19 out of 20 human beings, their priority in every social interaction is leverage to experience moral or social superiority. So they're looking for leverage. And when it comes to black people, you're always going to look for leverage. Most of y'all, even the black people, y'all always look for fucking leverage. Okay, so it's an immediately dehumanized position, the visual appearance. And so the leverage that you seek is, oh, well, the credentials aren't real. Yeah, they are. Nobody questioned them 10 years ago when I was writing for Ezibotha as a cognitive linguist. I was churning out articles for Ezibotha. Nobody had any problem then. I'm sick of this shit. I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of it. So when you're looking for leverage instead of looking for a reason to support, you're gonna fucking find leverage. That's what you're looking for. And when it comes to black people, that's what happens in all the white folks' minds right now. Black people, because Black Lives Matter was too uppity. So as a cultural movement, consciously and subconsciously, even the good liberal white folks out there that think that they're better than the real races, no, you're not. You're doing the same shit. I'm living it. You're doing the same shit. Punishing what you view as uppity, whether it's conscious, you consciously voice and believe that, or it's subconscious. You don't think that you believe that, but it's in your actions and the way that you interact with people of a minoritized visual appearance, because you're looking for leverage. And the leverage is inherent in the interaction when there's a minoritized visual appearance. So let's move on. Let's move on from that topic. All right, so you're looking for leverage instead of looking for a reason to support. That's your inherent interaction with somebody of a minoritized visual appearance. Doesn't matter if they're disabled, with a morbid disability, they can put in the economy, it just affects the food that they can put on their plate. Doesn't matter, you're looking for leverage.
I said there, because it cut me off, it was actually an important point. Where am I? I said there that I have my abdomen has been sliced into from sternum to pelvis and then from hip to hip. And then I've got peppered, smaller scars from when they are able to do more advanced procedures. So I have 3 smaller scars, and then 4 smaller scars, and the two major ones after 6 surgeries. And it's constant pain in there, constant management of the situation, and I'm just, because of that, I can't go service a time scheduled economy. I can set up pretty great economic vessels, in my opinion, but I can't go do that in this block of time. I can't make those obligations. I have no idea what my body's going to be doing. Even when we're filming Press Pass, when eventually we get going, my situation will be handled. Like, I'll have either a trailer or an office on set or in the building that we're filming in, and no matter what I need to handle for my survival, I'll be able to do that on the side. I'll even be able to go down and knock out for hours if I need to. The show will be fine, but I can't put that on anybody else's market vessel. That's inappropriate. I don't even want to put that on the state, but I gotta pay my bills. I gotta pay my measly little $300 a month in bills that I still can't seem to get from the market, despite being the pole and the precedent. It's crazy work.
All right, so you're looking for leverage instead of looking for a reason to support. That's your inherent interaction with somebody of a minoritized visual appearance. Doesn't matter if they're disabled, with a morbid disability. They can put in the economy, just affects the food that they can put on their plate. Doesn't matter, you're looking for leverage. So you're going to find it. Here, the leverage exists in what somebody else published after me that's not relevant to my work at all. And you'd know that if you read the paper. But in the leverage-seeking mindset, you don't have to read the paper, because 4chan gambled and Kamani must be doing the same thing. Because he's a black man, and black men, and there's a correlation between blackness and a casino, and I'm not going to think twice. That's exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. So we're talking about global history, once again, thoroughly shaped by American fucking racism. Thoroughly shaped. Beyond minoritized visual appearance, people are still seeking leverage beyond that, okay? So here I am presenting credentials, aspirations, research, experience, engagement, and results. I'm explaining them, I'm making sense from the precedent, the notarized precedent that everybody can go see and participate in impartial witness. But you need a community to enforce that. The government won't enforce that. The government's trying to steal all your data. They're trying to publish all your data into data centers using my exact puzzle structuring methodology, by the way. How do you think these data centers are being published? Every single upload that you put on the internet right now is a puzzle piece. In the puzzle that is you. And you are in every data center that they're putting up. We didn't form any market argument against that, even though it was there to be formed. That's the issue. Racism, 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 racist dog shit. I invited 2 of who I thought were my best friends that I grew up with to participate in the early market capture of my life's work, okay? And both of them looked me dead in the eye and said, uppity nigger, and refused to help. Refused to lift a fucking finger. They sabotaged a $13 million deal for our pole position. That's what Ryan and Tom, that's what their names, did to me, just to make the uppity nigger point. And they've been selling permission for that sideways to my hometown of 4,000 people. Most of whom are white folks. Most of whom will gobble up that shit with a fork and a fucking knife because of their addiction to social and moral superiority. So, my best friends turn me into a reality show slave. They march around in an excuse for themselves to do cocaine.
Let's pause and talk about that for a minute. And I'm going to go bring up the precedent while I talk about this, because this is what I'm talking about. This is my life's work, okay? I am a cognitive linguist. I'm a media publisher. So I'm using a publishing tool and converting my labor into property. And I'm bringing my credentials, aspirations, research, experience, engagement into this atmosphere of this publishing tool to create this result, this precedent result. March 31st, 2021, in the collective publishing of a brand. Nobody was doing this before me. This is the precedent. Here, I'll go put the link in chat so y'all can buy pieces and publish into the precedent and the pole position. Okay? We only list 200 at a time, and you have to keep in mind, just given what has already been proven on the market, we'd be justified in asking for $400,000 a pop for these. We don't ask for $400,000 a pop. I want them to be accessible to my immediate community that want to publish results into the market precedent. So that's what has to be done. It has to be community embraced. Just because gambling was community embraced doesn't mean that you ignore the tool and then you ignore my work. And you enslave me to the narrative that you come up with in your head against the gambling. Oh, cool. Etherscan's hiring. Let's see what's going on in their hiring. The hell do they work out of? Shit, I'll be a content strategist out of Kuala Lumpur. Isn't that Malaysia? Okay. March 31st, 2021, 5:46 p.m. The precedent in collective publishing.
So they turned the family and friends support into...
Okay, this is again 20 years, over 20 years of experience in publishing, almost 20 years of research, specifically in modular units and how they create, deliver meaning and value in your mental perception. So that's exactly what this is, a modular unit of value delivery in your mental perception of a brand. My life's work rendered as an action preceding all the gambling. Okay, March 31st, 2021. And like I just said in the story there, I trusted two of my childhood friends to show up and simply help create what would ultimately become this task list here. I want to bring that up. I wanted them to help brainstorm on this task list here. In front of a $13 million deal with a group called Metapurse in Singapore, because they wanted to explore financing a little bit, to some degree, our collective build here, giving us a few resources. And the ask was $13 million against 10% of season 1 of Press Pass. And those guys, their names are Ryan Young and Thomas Meeker, just decided for themselves while doing cocaine and yapping amongst themselves that the deal wasn't real, that the opportunity wasn't real, and that it was, the whole thing was beneath them. This was before the Bored Ape Yacht Club thing. I don't want to hear anything about that. So those two fucking morons think that my life's work was there to be enslaved and discussed, and then decided that, oh, I was being an uppity nigger. These are two white boys. I was being an uppity nigger and that they needed to put down the uppity nigger. This is the fucking soup that is spread throughout society right now. It's disgusting. And these people, they don't think they're racist. They don't think they're racist. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Ryan specifically doesn't think he's racist because he married somebody who brought plantation politics into my fucking life. What a garbage person. Want to marry a streetwalker from DC on their last legs? Shit. That's on you, buddy. Oh no, just so y'all know. They were never my friends, and I realized that through this process. They were always my fucking enemies. And so now they get the enemy treatment for the rest of their lives. As well as anybody who wants to cape for that dog shit. Anybody who wants to snort cocaine and do nothing and publish nothing into their lives. Do that. Nothing, nothing, nothing. Anyway. So they were asked to come collaborate on the items to publish across from our publishing titles. They refused to do that. They refused to attend even one meeting. I had to fill the gaps with random people from the internet and other friends that were willing to show up after Bored Ape Yacht Club set a narrative about gambling. And then beyond that, instead of people perceiving this as intended, where they purchase something and then they do these activities, it was looked at as purchasing something as a speculative investment in what these activities might bring in the market. And that was just so stupid. It still hurts my brain that so many people can't perceive a digital asset like a font or a template. Anyway.
Uppity nigger, punish the uppity.
Let's go back.
I invited two of who I thought were my best friends that I grew up with to participate in the early market capture of my life's work. Okay? And both of them looked me dead in the eye and said, uppity nigger, and refused to help. Refused to lift a fucking finger. They sabotaged a $13 million deal for our pole position. That's what Ryan and Tom, that's what their names, did to me, just to make the uppity nigger point. And they've been selling permission for that sideways to my hometown of 4,000 people, most of whom are white folks, most of whom will gobble up that shit with a fork and a fucking knife because of their addiction to social and moral superiority. So, my best friends turn me into a reality show slave. They march around in an excuse for themselves to do cocaine.
Facts. Simple.
So they turned the family and friends support into uppity nigger, punish the uppity nigger, punish the uppity nigger. That's what they turned my life's work into. Lifelong, deep-seated, racist fucking clowns, Ryan Mitchell Young, Thomas Mackenzie Meeker, and all in their little fucking cocaine crony system that they run up there. I don't even know if they're still on cocaine, but the point is, they're so fucking racist. They were it's like little creatures waiting in a den in my career, waiting for a crack in the armor to harm it in some way. Because in their eyes, I'm out achieving them. In my eyes, I'm just working jobs.
Facts.
I'm just working fucking jobs and gaining experience and bringing that experience back to my hometown so everybody can eat and we can all collaborate together with all of our experience. This is what co-publishing is.
I don't even operate on that plane.
So if you're from Forest Hill, you've been eating uppity nigger for 5 years off Ryan and Tom's offering.
Facts.
Here you go. Build a market out of uppity nigger. Here you go. This is going to make the lady $8,140 in total once it sells. It already made her $170. Okay, the bear costs her, what did it cost her? I think it was like $16 at the time. So she 10x'd her bear, but she published a result that earned that from the market. That's what you do. We call it shoving the duck up. You line your ducks in a row. You publish results that earn from the market. I've been doing this for over 20 fucking years. But the problem is, I line the ducks up for ABC and fucking Discovery, and I don't get in on the compound value of the transaction. So I'm not gonna fucking do that for ABC and Discovery. I'm gonna do that for my community. But I don't work for free. I'm nobody's slave. Buy a bear for $10 and publish results into the life's work that you now understand and value it. I promise you that was the wide cultural response to Black Lives Matter. Was like a widespread knee-jerk reaction of uppity Negro. Okay, and now we're seeing it. You see it dead in the eye. Why the fuck is 4chan's publication being championed as the precedent? It's not the precedent. Everybody can go participate in that impartial witness and verify what I'm saying and use your mouth and share and advocate for the truth instead of letting 4chan set a gambling narrative while corporations go file all of your information in blocks in a chain on all these data centers. Think you're better than blockchain and NFTs. You're using that shit. Every fucking day you're using that shit. It's just not publishing your activity. It's publishing your activity into a corporate market and you're enslaved.
You guys are not, let me clarify that whole panel because there's some cuts there. You're not boycotting NFTs and blockchain. You're using that shit every day. Every single corporate website, every single corporate platform, including YouTube, Instagram, all these places now, are using blockchain or something like it. It's an indexing system that's like it. It's not blockchain specifically because blockchain is very specifically decentralized authenticity protocols. But data centers obviously don't use decentralized authenticity protocols. But in terms of indexing technology, in terms of simultaneous user transactions being filed in blocks, organized in a chronological order in a chain, and then having that be a programmable index system for the data center to peruse and land on certain elements and extract those certain elements and have many certain elements extracted all at once. Now you understand what a data shard is in these AI brains. It's just a published unit of data, a published unit of activity. Most likely from you, me, somebody who didn't actually authorize any consent and didn't give them any permission to, one, record and establish that property in the first place, and then two, commercially express it without including us. The fuck is going on? It's disgusting, actually. It makes me so thoroughly disgusted knowing what's happening and knowing who's moving around it and who's lying to cover for it. Oh my God.
Basic fucking information that Let's close this off with the basic fucking information that most people have been ignoring to shove a stick up their ass so they can think to themselves that they're morally or socially superior than the information that I'm about to teach you again.
Crash
for the
out, come on.
fucking time. In a racist country where I don't have pedestal to teach the information because it's so fucking racist that a precedent-setting scientist doesn't have podium to teach the fucking information. A block is a simultaneous set of user filings that happens at the same time. That is all a block is. The chain is the chronological record of blocks in order of filing. That is all the chain is. There are basically two types of filings on this network. There's a fungible filing, which is same as next, and a non-fungible filing, a unique origin, unique result. This is just information. It is not political. Fungible filings basically create units of account that are same as the next in a hard-capped pool of said units, or maybe a scalable pool if it's mathematical in some way. That forms, in the minds of minds of users of this technology, a currency, where every unit of account is the same value as the next unit of account. Because it's an encrypted data network, it's an encrypted currency, which is shorthanded to crypto. Crypto has been around forever, since computing's been around. Since it's been around in linguistics since before computing's been around. Oh, this is so exhausting. Okay. So exhausting. Oh my God, it's so exhausting. It's just information, and y'all adopted a sense of moral and social superiority against it, and I can't break through that. It's insane. It's insanity. It's Black Mirror insanity. Now, even though they're called encrypted currencies, they basically work like potatoes. Okay, so a potato theoretically is the same value as the next potato. And if you have a certain amount of potatoes in a harvest, then you have a known supply of those units of account in the potato harvest. Don't invest in potatoes. Don't invest in potatoes, people. Don't gamble on the price of potato. Don't buy 5,000 potatoes at $5 a potato and then expect to sell at $10 a potato. That's stupid. Don't do it in potatoes. Don't do it in encrypted currency. That's stupid behavior. That is stupid behavior. I'll say it again. That is the behavior that 4chan is publishing. I think it's this giant government sort of psyop troll job to hide the fact that they're using blockchain to feed all the data centers. Okay, that's the other shoe. Now, non-fungible, which we don't say this stuff. Okay, like if you're going to follow the precedent, you're going to build off of a scientific precedent. We're not going to say this weirdo shit. Crypto and NFT and even blockchain. It's a public notary that files blocks in a chain, but it's a public notary. That's what it is. It's a public notary service. Public service that provides impartial witness to those filings. That's what it is. That's what it is. It's boring. You don't get a sense of moral and social superiority against it. The energy footprint is negligible, especially compared to the data centers that are popping up. But even before that, it was negligible. You never had a leg to stand on for your moral and social superiority. They sold you lies, and you ate them up with spoon and fork and knife. Anyway. I'm so frustrated because it's like the basic information cannot break through the moral and social superiority that basically Hassan Piker sold to everybody. That's the fucking problem here. Non-fungible token, NFT, is to a publishing title. That is what it creates and files on the public notary in most cases. A title to what's published within that unique origin, unique result asset, and a title to what can further be published with that. So it's a publishing title.
Let's go look at the first one. There you go. Here's a publishing title on the brand. Okay. So here's what's published within. And here's what it can further express. So both things together are the property of who has custody over this publishing title. This is the precedent. Everybody can go participate in it. It is not my fault that to date, most people aren't even aware of this information. That is the fault of the Sacramento Press, and then beyond that, Hassan Piker, who's specifically defrauding me. But then beyond Hassan Piker, I just was abandoned by most of my friends. So let me not say that way. I have very few friends left, and I'm very grateful for those folks.
NFT creates publishing title the same way HTML creates a website. Okay? So do you go visit an HTML? Is that what you do? No, this is stupid language that they hide things under. These are fiduciary obligated corporate goons who want to steal all of your published data, express an AI, not pay you, and then expect you to pay for it. Not behavioral scientists, clearly. A block is a set of simultaneous user filings on this public notary service. That's what the block is. The chain is the chronological record of blocks in a row. It's not dopamine inducing, it's boring. The dopamine inducing thing is to hate that and ignore that information because of what 4chan did with it. Which means you also have to ignore me and ignore my precedent, which most people are all too happy to fucking do. They're happy to throw a lifelong relationship with me in the fucking trash to do it, because that's how addictive sanctimony is. The illusion that you're morally or socially superior. So you throw the precedent in the trash because you think you're morally and socially superior to the tool that published the precedent because of how 4chan used the tool and because you would want to dehumanize me to get to that point. Because you have to dehumanize me to get to that point. Okay. There are basically two types of user filings. There's a fungible user filing, which creates a currency of sorts. It's really a commodity. I don't care what John Oliver told you. It really is a commodity. Don't gamble on it. That's what he should be telling you. He should be telling you exactly and precisely how the public notary service works, down to the technical function, and then tell you explicitly, don't gamble on the units of account because that's stupid behavior. Don't do that. That is not how you position your labor for compound earnings. That's gambling on a use rate of a network. It's stupid. Don't do it. Gambling on use rates of potatoes. Don't do it. If you're going to buy potatoes and try to sell them to me at a markup, you're gambling on the use rate of potatoes. It's exactly what you're doing in cryptocurrency too. Just don't do it. Just don't behave that way. I don't care how the interfaces are designed to encourage you to behave that way. Just choose not to do that, okay? Just choose not to. Now, past the fungible currency units of account, there's the non-fungible unit of account, which creates titled property in most cases. Sometimes they create access keys or gates to something else, but in most cases, they're titles to what's published within and titles to what that publication can further express. And you know why they are that? It's because I say so. That's what my fucking paper's about. So if you don't read the paper and you just judge what fucking 4chan did, you're a racist clown. That's what you are. The paper's been available to read this entire time. You don't want to equip yourself with the full slate of information so you can enjoy a sanctimonious position, moral and social superiority against a fucking tool you don't understand. I don't use this word lightly. That is actually retarded behavior. Full on, retarded behavior. Socially retarded and informationally retarded. You need to be better than that. I say this not lightly. I don't like to throw that around. What? Because it actually is. You're literally ignoring, one, available information. Two, an established scientific precedent from a credentialed professional. Okay? Basic information, scientific precedent from
I totally lost the word there.
You're ignoring both of those things. We're already way off into the R word. What are we doing? Why are you doing that? Because you're leverage seeking. That's what you're doing. So you think, I don't have to honor credentials because everybody has credentials these days. Okay. You do have to honor the precedent. You can't just ignore the precedent and not engage in information because of how you're reacting to what 4chan did. That is dehumanizing me and my team and everybody that put their hopes on the work that we are doing, which is over 700 people, at least to this point. It comes down to this. Your activity, your effort, your labor should be rendered in accounting as Legos, pieces of the property being built. I've established the language for that. They're using the language for that to establish these AI brains in the data centers. That's not what the language is for. They can totally use it to establish data pools, but they have to be honest and cut us in. That's what the language is for. If we're all creating the units of account in these AI brains, then guess what? They have a treasury map for performance. They can automatically wire everybody's units of account to receive performance from how that data pool is performing. And that would change the economy overnight. It's literally fishes and loaves. We'll flip the tables on the gamblers. My goodness. Okay? Just live it. Just live it. Just live it. That's all just live it. Folks, live it. Live it! Yeah, so long story short, two coked out morons named Ryan and Tom, when invited to help collectively publish the pole position and podium of co-publishing, took that opportunity to march me around my hometown with a noose around my neck saying, uppity nigger. That's what Ryan and Tom chose to do. Okay? So once you have that information, you can exit the fucking parade, you can exit the picnic, and come in and help collectively publish pole position and precedent and podium, because you know that there's a $4 billion market in that, because that's what the 4chan people did. Even if it's day trading, Still proves the point. You can co-publish a market vessel this way. Still proves the fucking point. We ain't gonna do $4 billion in day trading. That's stupid. But hey, we all might make a few $1,000s more than we would have otherwise, and that's the whole point. Let's put food on plates. Let's go. We really do well with, we're in the United States. Y'all only really do well with, threats, basically. So the city of Sacramento and the Sacramento Press, who have committed wide-scale fraud through material obfuscation. I don't know if I ever say that word right. That's fraud. You cannot do what they're doing. You can't just stay silent about the press when you know that there's a precedent sitting right there in your fucking front yard. You can't just stay silent as an antecedent makes $4 billion. Okay, that is a form of market fraud. And yet, Sacramento Press is elbow in elbow on it. Every platform, every journalists are supposed to report newsworthy information to the public, regardless of perceived politic. So I don't see a journalist in sight in the city at all. Not one of y'all. I don't care what skin color you are. You're a social media influencer and you're designing narratives. Propagandist. You're a lying clown. You're a fraudulent moron. That's what you are.
Oh, this is the blank panel.
Hey, come on.
Dang it.
We're in the United States, y'all. Hey, Kamani. We didn't help you co-publish the behavior of co-publishing, where you co-publish the stage, co-publish the shelf, co-publish each other, and co-publish yourself from the pole position and podium in the use of this indexing tool in a publicly notarized filing for all to see in block 12,128,101, which was filed on March 28th at 7:16 in the morning in 2021. But no, we didn't help you with that. And we didn't help you with the brand either, March 31st, 2021. Because 4chan started gambling a month later. And we had to punish somebody, because we don't know anybody who was doing this. We don't know anybody who was doing this. So we needed to punish somebody, so we did this. We boycotted you. That's what we did. And we starved a disabled person into the gutter. Hooray, hooray us, good liberal people. I'm curious, actually, like real curious. Porteños, Argentines. Do you think I'd have any issue at all establishing myself as a science publishing precedent in Argentina? All this stuff, y'all racist, y'all think I'd have any issue at all? The minute I land, they're gonna be putting me on news interviews and shit. Like, like the appropriate thing to do to a scientific precedent. That's the appropriate thing to do. You don't look at what 4chan did and come up with some fucking narrative that's not relevant to what most people are doing with the indexing tool. That's what the gamblers are doing. They're the ones gambling on the trade value of the units of account. You don't have to do that. That's a very small percentage of behavior. You can actually publish results with the units of account. Think about that. That's the precedent.
Facts.
And beyond being the fucking precedent and behavioral use of a public fucking notary that everybody can go look at because it's a publicly notarized, and the press want to fucking fabricate narratives against that. That's the issue. Is that the press has committed federal crimes and now they're trying to cover all that shit up for each other. Resign en masse, you dog shit fucking clowns. Like you're a clown parade of liars. This is apolitical. Like, if you're right wing, left wing, y'all did the same shit. You just ignored the precedent and let 4chan take the fucking index tool and make everybody think it's a gambling tool. And now, that same indexing technology is feeding everybody's every waking moment to data centers. Using the same technology you guys think you're boycotting. Blocks filed in a chain of unique origin, unique result filing. I'm livid at my own community because everybody who knows me should know better, but it really has become a widespread conversation that is just focused on police the uppity nigger. That's what it is. Okay? And you're gonna drive me out of the fucking country with that because there's no healing that. There's no healing that. What the fuck is wrong with you? My God. This is my life's work that's being kicked around like a fucking soccer ball so a few white people in my hometown can feel better than uppity nigger, even though all they've done with their lives is snort cocaine and do shit else. Done shit else. Learned nothing. Have zero skills. Can't structure a catalog for publishing. Can't structure a stage for publishing. This is both. Been doing it for 2 decades. Y'all want to enslave that for uppity nigger bullshit? Fuck y'all. That includes literally every advocacy group that should be speaking up for the scientific fucking precedent. Okay? But I'll explain the problem because we're in 2026 and my generation of millennials, once again, we're going to use that word, has gone full retarded, socially retarded, environmentally retarded, we're retarded in the economy. We can't get it. Like, it's just, oh my God, I hate millennials. Gen Z and Gen Alpha I'll ride for. Those are some smart young adults right there. But I hate millennials because all y'all did was yap, pretend to be socialists for the social cloud of it. But then when it actually comes to the brass tacks of performance, you're nowhere to be found. You got a stick shoved up your ass about what 4chan did. Y'all are racist fucking clowns. You're drugged out morons. You are a useless generation. That's what millennials are. So millennials, by and large, are just leverage-seeking, drugged-out morons. If that hits you where it hurts, whatever. Honestly, whatever. Learn, be better. Okay, I've had to learn and be better in myself. You think I like crashing out? You think I have zero fucking friends or I have to move halfway across the world to enjoy a sense of friendship again? Because in Argentina, I got friends, but I'm not going to have them where you guys won't. I'm not going to have them. I'm not going to spend that money coming into our properties here. That doesn't make sense. That does make sense to go launch the Market Festival in Buenos Aires and keep the spending there locally focused. Show you sanctimonious clowns what the precedent actually does and how it actually works, since you won't help me demonstrate it. And then we can teach the world. Maybe we can do it that way. Now's a good time where I need to practice the brain shift of getting away from all the negative people and to all the positive people, because this summer's been quite the test. Xeon's holding it down for me, like by far. And then I got a number of folks, Rosario, Maddie P, Bree, Aaron, Ethan, Justin, Sam, Nick, Johanna, Jordan. Yeah, these are people making sure that I eat every day. And it's been okay in recent weeks. But with my health issues, I cannot service time-scheduled obligations. It's one of my biggest things that eats me up. Is just I can't meet time where it needs to be met. Going back real quick to the point about advocacy. So I want to receive and be grateful for the advocacy that I do have. It's very small in between, and it does not reflect, in my opinion, the advocacy that the scientific precedent and the behavioral use of a public notary should be getting. That's just my opinion and where I'm sitting. Now, beyond that, let's talk about advocacy groups, okay? So I'm black, African American, light black. Okay. Terracotta black. Hey, but I got the 4C hair, all right? So I'm with the tribe. You see black folks piling into blockchain to support my light skin. See, this is where we're Willie Lynch. That's part. So we got our own uppity nigger thing going on. That's really okay. So we got to confront that. We got to confront that because that's going on there too. American advocacy. Okay, Native American advocacy. I learned I was Native at 19 years old when I met my biological family. So that is new to me. And I'm learning to be an advocate in and of myself. So I don't expect anything in that regard. I think it's cool. A lot of the work comes from a synthesis of my African American and indigenous understandings and perspectives of the world. I think that's very interesting, the way that we look at property in itself, and the way that we look at collaboration as a measurable good, that kind of thing. That goes directly into the work. But I don't expect really any sort of racial advocacy from any groups, because those labels are assigned to us. And it's very hard to form advocacy groups in an assigned label, as we all live every day. So let's talk about more serious advocacy group. UC Santa Cruz, where y'all at? I know, hey, the chancellor knows that I'm the scientific president. We met a couple months ago at a thing. We're dealing with storm after storm after storm after storm. Y'all could put me up in a building on campus, take that burden off the community, okay, and actually be a patron to what this is while we weather those storms, because that's no sweat. That's part of what we do at UC Santa Cruz, as far as I know. So let me not burn any bridges there. I'm saying now is the time where we're maybe 3 years ago, but now is a new window of seriousness. And so if we can let's take the burden off the people that I'm immediately burdening in Sacramento by actually turning my precedent work into a real living for me. And that's going to take some big advocacy jumps, I think. Press, don't bother, because I already know where you guys are at. Elbow in elbow, colluding in fraud. We design the narrative, we, the pool of influencers that guide how Sacramento thinks about information, and we guide the information Sacramento even has access to. Oh, the worst part about it is y'all ain't even paid. Y'all just do this. It's like a high school clique. You know what I mean? It's like they think they're designing the school paper. It's every platform. It's ABC, CBS, the Bee, Sacramento News and Review, the Observers, all these platforms. They think they're colluding on like the school paper headline. And so when you ignore the precedent and then 4chan goes and makes $4 billion, you know that you committed $4 billion of fraud, right? You know that, right? Okay, let's establish that. It's literally called fraud through material obfuscation, and you can't do it as members of the press. You're violating all sorts of things. I mean, I could claim that my publications are scientific and therefore inherently apolitical. I myself am a very leftist-oriented person, and clearly the gambling and shit is all very right-wing, and they're designed. It's all psyop over there. It's all psyop shit, and it's infuriating. It's infuriating their own base. Okay. While they're merging the military with Israel's and putting up flock cameras everywhere, and they think they're the champion of American sovereignty and American rights. It's asinine. We all just need to divorce the thing.
What's this one? This also broke? Man, okay, fine.
It's literally.
I don't want to go to GPT. What am I doing?
Hey everyone, welcome back. Today, we're jumping right into a step-by-step explainer on how you can enter a seriously unique, collaborative universe. If you've been trying to figure out exactly how to onboard into the sport punk reality of the press pass lore game, well, you are in the perfect place. We're going to break down exactly how you go from being just a spectator to an active co-producer who's actually shaping alternate basketball history.
Okay, let's dive into this. The specific era we're exploring today is Season 1 of Press Pass, which is officially titled Here We Stick. This entire season centers on a fictional retelling of a sports media circuit covering the Sacramento Majesty. They're a franchise within the alternate reality basketball syndicate of America. Think of this as our quest map for the day. We'll demystify this whole setup in 5 logical steps. First, welcome to the lore game. Second, equipping your digital vault. Third, claiming your publishing title. Fourth, forging your fandom character. And fifth, joining the lore chapter.
Right, so part 1, welcome to the lore game.
You might be wondering, what exactly kind of show are we dealing with here? Well, a lore game is technically defined as a scalable impact puzzle defined within the intellectual property that wraps the official canon. But you know, what does that actually mean for you? It means that instead of just sitting back and watching a show on your couch, you're co-producing a living puzzle. It's kind of like a giant tabletop game where participants fit into really specific roles to actively shape the story world.
Now, what's really interesting about this is this specific number, 530,916. Because a lore game is a puzzle, it has a fixed capacity. That number represents the total limited amount of puzzle pieces available for Season 1, which equates to exactly 10% of the season's intellectual property.
So here's the macro overview of the journey. Frame this in your mind like you're gearing up for an epic tabletop adventure. Step 1 is securing your digital wallet. That's basically your inventory. Step 2 is getting your token, which acts as your access pass. Step 3 is registering your unique character. And Step 4 is the really fun part, actual roleplay.
Moving right along to Step 2, equipping your digital vault.
To actually hold these digital puzzle pieces, you're going to need a self-custody Ethereum wallet. Think of this as your encrypted digital safe. You can use platforms like MetaMask, Coinbase Wallet, Trust Wallet, or Rainbow. Now, it's incredibly important to note that the creators have no official wallet partner, so you are entirely responsible for your security. Your seed phrase is literally exactly like a real-life safe combination. Guard it with your life, keep it offline, and whatever you do, do not share it with anyone on the internet.
All right, Step 3, claiming your publishing title.
So, the crucial point is cleanly separating how these two different versions function, because your choice absolutely dictates your starting role in the ecosystem. There are 530,000 version 1 pieces, and those allow you to play as an ecosystem professional, like team staff or media, or as a notable fan. But there are only 916 version 2 pieces in existence. A version 2 piece is your exclusive access key to instantly launch as an actual syndicate player or a team coach. And all of that structure funnels right down into this number, 288. That is the
It's 300, actually.
exact number of characters in a single lore chapter. This really underscores just how exclusive and deliberately structured this collaborative puzzle is. You aren't just a random face in a massive crowd, you are one of 288 specific voices building that chapter's history.
Which brings us to the creative phase, Step 4, forging your fandom character.
To manage your character's development, you'll need to create a free account on the Fandom Wiki platform. Now, when you're filling out your character registration, we have to be strictly clear about the ethical AI guidelines from the source material. You can absolutely use AI to brainstorm your background or generate concept art and framing. However, it cannot be used for final official assets. So as an example, all official 1939 team logos in this universe are strictly human-made. Once you're registered, your character gets a character tree. And don't worry, everyone starts on a completely even playing field at a level 1 overall base. You get 120 base levels to distribute across 60 total facets. These are broken down into 3 unique branches, representing your social influence, physical abilities, and unique traits: clout, skill, and exogen. As you roleplay, you can climb as high as level 1553. Oh, and good news, you can only gain levels, you never lose them. Before you jump in, you really need to understand the cardinal rule of improv that governs this space. You must always, always, always yes and the source material. You just can't retcon or alter details that someone else has already canonized. Plus, this is a grounded sport punk reality. So if you have a totally wild idea, like, I don't know, a Pegasus dragon dunking a basketball, that can only exist in your character's personal Umwelt. That basically just means their subjective imagined reality. It's not actually real in the shared physical world of the game.
And finally, Part 5, joining the lore chapter.
And this brilliantly illustrates the actual gameplay loop and community interaction. A standard lore chapter runs as a highly focused 3-week sprint. It kicks off with a media day lore party to establish character relationships. Over the next few weeks, players attend up to 7 lore parties, ultimately wrapping up with closing ceremonies. You and the community collaboratively build a season schedule in real time during these sessions, which usually run for 2 to 4 hours each. Inside these parties, the narrative gets broken down into intimate micro-arcs called story beats. There are 20 story beats per chapter, featuring small groups of 12 to 16 characters. These are guided by lore wranglers, who are players holding at least 7 puzzle pieces, and they're designed by lore masters, who hold 25 or more pieces. And honestly, the coolest part? On the official interface, toucan.events, you can freely trade arcs in real time to experience completely different subplots as the night goes on. Let's move to and see how this builds the vibrant aesthetic of the Sacramento Majesty. Remember, everything you do in this lore game directly shapes the history and culture of this specific alternate reality franchise. Every interview you give, every media day interaction, every game simulated in the lore parties, it all becomes a permanent part of the official canon.
So, having seen the structure, the rules of the puzzle, and the tools at your disposal, the final question is simply this: what role will you play in basketball history? Are you going to be calling the shots as a head coach, reporting from the sidelines, or cheering wildly from the stands? The Sport Punk universe is literally waiting for your piece of the puzzle. So go secure that vault.
You guys want to see one of my pieces of the puzzle? Of my actual professional sports contribution? Bam! Ain't never gonna top this, don't ever need to. Oh, sweet. I can get this back if I want. It's so goofy. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, don't do the potato trading. Don't do potato trading with publishing titles. I think I gotta lay down. I just wanted to get that story on record. Mainly, that's number one. So. Maybe there's another spinner I can do here.
Traditional charity asks for your time and money, but rarely builds generational wealth for the people doing the work. But what if we could co-publish the economy using a model called solidarity commerce? Enter Pauka. They took their brand's intellectual property and fractured it into an impact puzzle. You buy a digital publishing title, which acts as a deed to a fraction of the brand. This isn't a speculative stock. It is strictly a tool for development. To become an impact developer, first download Rainbow Wallet as your secure digital safe. Then secure your publishing title for 50 poly, which is about $10. Next, head to the Town Square Discord to officially verify your new digital title. This unlocks your access to the internal ecosystem. Now put that title to work in the co-publishing tiers. You can design limited-run Pauka merchandise or write for their newsletter and earn a direct percentage of the net profits. By actively developing your piece of the Pauka brand through media and merch, you aren't just donating to a cause. You are building and owning a sustainable community wealth engine. Economic systems are built from specific modular contributions. When properly aligned, they create a structure far more resilient than any single participant could build alone. Most modern systems operate on a flaw known as leveraged violence. In this model, property owners capture the entirety of an economy's compounding growth. while the value of the labor used to build it remains fixed. We see this clearly in corporate AI development. These libraries extract massive amounts of human labor, scraping the work of millions of creators to build value that the creators themselves will never own. Under these standard models, labor acts as a depreciating asset for the worker, while remaining a compounding asset for the owner. Cognitive linguist Kimani Okera addressed this by treating the blockchain as a public notary service. Instead of a speculative market, it becomes a tool for co-publishing economic value. The historical proof for this model was established by Let Me Out Productions on March 24, 2021. By minting the first company ownership tokens, they used a public record to legally fractionalize and distribute property rights to their collaborators. Now, Zion Tedesay and Pan-African United Community Advocacy, or PAUCA, are applying this model to their own brand. They have divided their brand into 100,000 publishing titles, with 84,000 of those reserved strictly for those who provide labor. Holding a publishing title changes your role in the economy. It moves you from an extracted laborer to an active co-publisher of a brand you partially own. To hold that title, you must first set up a Web3 digital wallet. This wallet functions as your personal notary safe for your property. You can begin by downloading a browser extension like MetaMask and following the installation prompts to generate your account. During setup, the system generates a 12 to 24-word sequence called a seed phrase. This is the mathematical evidence required to access your vault. You must record this phrase on physical paper and store it in a secure location. If it is lost, neither PAUCA nor MetaMask can recover it, and your property will be permanently inaccessible. Once your digital safe is secure, you can navigate to own.pauca.org to browse the titles available for purchase. Managing this safe independently is the foundational requirement of the system. It provides the technical infrastructure necessary to manage your own property without a central bank or custodian. The model functions like a community garden. The title you hold is the plot of land, and your labor is the seed. Only by supplying both can you produce a harvest, or impact. The labor requirements are organized into branches. Tier 1 involves legacy pieces, original art for the PAUCA puzzle template. Developing these pieces earns you 50% of the primary sale and 5% of every secondary trade that follows. Tier 2, the shelf, focuses on merchandising. If you design merchandise for the brand, the net profits are split equally between you and the PAUCA community treasury. These tiers allow you to monetize creative labor directly. By using a public ledger to manage splits, the model removes the need for traditional corporate middlemen. Tier 3, the stage, focuses on written advocacy. Owners can contribute up to 3 pages of research or content to the quarterly PAUCA Impact newsletter. Contributors to the newsletter earn a 35% share of the advertising revenue generated by that specific issue. Finally, Tier 4 connects digital ownership to physical community events. Active title holders can have their tabling fees waived at annual PAUCA bazaars. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. The model explicitly requires active participation. You are purchasing a title on the premise of what you will develop, not as a passive investment. These 4 tiers create a self-sustaining cycle where the work of community advocacy generates the funds needed for its own existence. These financial mechanics are built upon a specific ethical foundation, the Nguzo Saba, or the 7 core principles of Kwanzaa. The principle of ujamaa, or cooperative economics, is not just a philosophy here. It is legally codified into the PAUCA fractional deed. This is reinforced by ujima, collective work. It is the mandatory requirement for the community to maintain and expand the digital garden together. PAUCA uses blockchain technology to provide the technical enforcement for these traditional Pan-African economic principles. This system shifts the goal of labor. Instead of working for a fixed wage that leaves you with nothing, you become an impact owner, building equity in a collective brand. Securing a title provides you with a fixed point on a public ledger. It ensures that the results of your labor remain yours to develop. You can officially claim your title and begin your labor at own.pauca.org. True community advocacy requires more than a loud voice.
that's it for the stream. I'm gonna close that down.